You know, Canvasback is an amazing ministry. 38 years they've been in operation, coming to islands and atolls in the Pacific to do an incredible work. I'm here today in Majuro, standing in front of the hospital. Why a hospital? Well, because Canvasback works hand in glove with hospitals, bringing specialists from many different fields to help them out in things that they just don't do and aren't able to provide the community. But there's more yet to come. Wakuk Wajimur. What does it mean? Well, it's Marshallese for canoes bring people together. They've been making canoes for, well, who knows how long. It wasn't, though, until the 1800s that Westerners discovered these canoes and they marveled at them, the way they sail, the way they handle. And then canoe enthusiasts from all over the world began looking at them and the admiration of all the Pacific. Well, today I want to show you some more of the actual manufacturing process. It's exciting to see. It's a lot of fun, so come on, let's check it out.
I used to work for the museum, so 26 years ago.
Okay.
We went to the outer islands and document the step-by-step construction of canoes, and that was kind of amazing. People in the outer islands were asking why we would do that, because they have canoes. I said, well, that's why we're doing it. Because you have the knowledge, you have the skills so we can document it for future generations.
So this was an old generation that had the old techniques and talent.
They have everything. They have all the, not just the skills, but the legends and everything else that goes with it. So we were fortunate. That was just the right timing, perfect timing for that.
Why did you have such a burden to gather the ancient customs and bring them in today?
Well, you know, when we documented the skills, there were so many kids running around. They actually came and learned how to build the canoes with us. And I was very fascinated with that. I thought, well, that's really great because they're really interested in the culture.
Gives them something to grab onto and to live
it was
for.
Really, yeah. But then I found out later they were all dropouts.
Really?
And a lot of them, again, the school system, if you do not pass the high school exam, you won't be able to go to high school. That's pretty much, that's it. That's pretty much it for the rest of your life. That's education, the end of education for you, because there's no other programs out there. One day when we got in with the voyaging canoe from Ujai, my job was to sail around and kind of educate the young people, go around the schools and talk about voyaging canoes and go to different communities and different youth programs. And I was doing it all for a volunteer, just trying to get a program going.
Now, if I can, help me out. What's a voyaging canoe? I don't understand.
A voyaging canoe, it's a canoe that is, you can actually cross the ocean with. So when we were finished with this canoe, we sailed from Ujai to Kwajalein, which is only about 140 miles. And then we sailed from Kwajalein to Majuro, which is about 250 miles. So that voyaging canoe was able to.
Okay, so I take it this one you're building here, this is not a voyaging canoe.
No, this is a paddling canoe. There's three sizes. This one is called Gargar. It's a smaller paddling canoe, 1 or 2 man canoes where people mostly used to go bottom fishing and go do some short distance sailing. And the mid-size sailing canoe, it's a sailing canoe that you can use for further distance within the lagoon. And sometimes you go outside the lagoon. But the voyaging canoe is the one that people actually go from atoll to atoll.
Now, this work is absolutely intricate. This is what you learned from the elders.
Yes.
This kind of canoe building.
We actually got certain wood. It's of course, the Marshall Islands, we don't have any wood, so whatever we find, we cut cut it to good pieces and then we sew them together. As
So when you
can
say
see.
fine, driftwood that comes in things?
There's
or-
some driftwood, there's some old breadfruit trees that fell a few years ago.
Okay.
See, traditionally, if you say you're working on building a canoe, you're actually planting a tree that maybe up to 20 years or even longer, then your son or your grandson will enjoy that tree.
So there was really an ecological part to this.
Yes, it's not just building a canoe right now. You are actually, all the canoe builders have future plans, long-term plan for the communities. And that's how they were thinking to make sure that their community can survive.
All right.
Yeah, so
Now notice you build these little guys too. What are these for?
Well, see in the program, we don't just teach the kids how to build canoes. We also, these are their wooden projects.
Oh, so each one builds his
Yes,
own project.
They have partners.
Okay.
We partner them up
Okay.
because the goal at the end is not just to make sure that the culture, the traditions still survive, but also make sure that they have some kind of skills when they're done, so they can go get a real job.
Okay.
But we have to at least give them some skills on their hand and information for their future journey. So wherever they go, they'll be able to survive. And at the end of the day, the culture will still be instilled in their hearts and cultural pride, just
Okay.
give them something.
Now, do you also, not only do you teach them building, do you teach them how to canoe and the skills of navigation, or?
We do a lot of sailing with them. As a matter of fact, Friday is our shop off. So we close all the shops. And we also do teach English and math. But we close everything up and let them go swim and go sailing around. And every once in a while, we go crazy and get on a bigger canoe and go across to the other atolls.
Do you have a bigger one we can look at to kind of give me an idea
Well,
what you're
we
talking
can
about?
take a look at this
Yeah.
one. But this one was actually funded by the Department of Interior. So it's all inside. This is fiberglass, but inside here is airtight compartment, so you can cut it in half and it's still floating. And
Okay, okay.
but this one is, if you look closely, I'm sorry, we're repairing all this thing. One side is a little bit rounder than the other. It's called the asymmetrical shape.
Oh, yeah. Huh.
So this is the same shape on an airplane wing.
Really?
So that airplane wing, without the shape, I don't think it'll fly. But on this, it goes, as you go faster, it create lift. And that's what,
Pulls you up in the water, which helps you go even faster, yeah.
yes, and also on the airplane. Same system. It's called asymmetric shape.
And what is this, is this particular canoe have a name, or as
Yes.
far as the style?
Chidram Kabe. Oh, this is the wallop, Voching canoe. Wallop literally means big canoe.
Big canoe
yeah.
means, okay, okay. And this has what, one sail on it, or?
One sail.
One sail.
Yeah. So I think the challenging part on these Marshallese canoes is the chunting or the tacking, because you actually lift the sail from one end and take
Ooh,
it to
put
the
it
other.
to the other.
Yeah. So there's a technique on that. You actually make sure that the canoe kind of face into the wind, and then you take the sail. and then
Okay, just when
put
you
in
catch
the-
that second
Yes.
of the doldrum.
And then the canoe actually will tell you when you put that sail on
Okay.
the side.
How many guys are in this
Oh,
canoe?
that canoe. We actually, what we did, we made people stand up from one side to the other, all fill it up with people.
That isn't normal, though,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Or-
not.
No,
But we
okay.
just want to see if it actually went down a bit. It didn't.
You're kind of a guy who likes to have fun, aren't you? I
Well,
can tell.
if you don't make work fun, it won't last.
Yeah,
And of course,
yeah.
because we're working with the at-risk youth, you have to make sure that whatever you do, it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, this, I sure appreciate your time
No
so
problem.
much, so much. It just, this gives a whole different idea to, the culture of the people and everything. So thank you so much. And I wish you success to continue to
you.
build this
Yes.
culture.
And I always tell people that you can go around the world and you go snorkeling, go diving, go enjoy beaches, but their boats and their food are what make them unique.
We've got a lot more adventure for you, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The three biggest killers in the islands of Micronesia are heart disease, stroke, and diabetes. Canvasback has tackled these issues head-on by establishing a wellness center on the atoll of Majuro. People there eat very few vegetables. Now, thanks to Canvasback, islanders are learning how to grow gardens in their backyards and to exercise. The lifestyle changes have been so remarkable, the government invited Canvasback to write an entire curriculum for the public school system. Now the lives of the children are changing too, and our trained neighborhood health teams travel the island to monitor glucose levels, heart rate, and blood pressure. It's not uncommon to discover glucose levels of 500 to 600. These people are taken to the hospital, and once stabilized, the team begins the education process to reverse their diabetes. That's right, reverse their diabetes. Many island nations are asking us to come over and help them. With your financial help, many more islanders can experience good health.
Right behind me at the moment is the Wellness Center. Canvasback is associated with the hospital, again, to work hand in glove to bring health to the community. Diabetes is rampant in all of the islands, the atolls, and they're changing many, many lives in a way that you just can't hardly imagine. Kristen, how long have you been here on the island?
This time around, 3 years.
This time around, there was another time.
Yes, my husband and I came in 2009, planning on staying for 6 months, and we ended up staying for 2 years.
And here you are back again.
Yes.
This time as co-directors of the Wellness Center. Why? Why did you come to an island thousands of miles away from the U.S., where you were born and raised, I assume?
Well, my husband and I have always wanted to be missionaries. And from when we were young, we figured that we wouldn't be staying in the States. And this is the door that opened up. We have really enjoyed being here in the Marshall Islands. There is a lot of opportunity, a lot of need. When we were in the States, we would try to do things like health screenings or cooking classes. And there were just so many restrictions, so many regulations, so many permits that you had to have, and permissions, and there was liability issues. And here, you want to take a blood sugar, you ask a store owner, hey, can I set up a table in front of your place? And that's as much permission as you need. So there's a lot more opportunity to help people, and there's a lot of need for the help.
Expand on the needs for me.
Well, being in the Pacific, a Pacific island nation, there is a high rate of diabetes. There's a genetic predisposition. And then if you wanted to give somebody diabetes, you would give them this diet that they have out here.
Really? Now you're a nurse, so you kind of know what you're speaking about.
Yes, somewhat. Although I can't say that nurses are very well trained in nutrition. But our dietitian, Brenda Davis, she's written a few books, and she has taught me a lot about nutrition. And one of the things is that the people here, they import food, mostly processed food, white rice, chips, canned meats, high fat, high salt, high sugar foods. And by their 30s, we're starting to see diabetes pop up.
By their 30s. Now, what happens when you find someone that, through your screenings, through the neighborhood screenings and things, you find someone that has really high sugar? What's next?
Well, we refer them to the hospital. We have a pretty good relationship with the diabetes clinic there, and get them medical attention. We have some programs available for the public if people want to learn how to cook or if they want a garden put in at their place, we'll do that. We have exercise classes here in the gym. And if you're one of the lucky ones to be in the chat program, then you get visits 3 times a week to begin with, and then that gradually goes down to 1 time a week and 1 time a month. And the community healthcare workers work with these families on incorporating a healthy diet and exercise plan into their daily routines and into their budget.
So they go right in the homes and help them understand what to cook and how to cook and all those things.
Mm-hmm. And they plant a garden for them and teach them how to use what grows in that garden. Yeah.
So kind of getting back to the roots of the nation.
Yes, there was, I believe, 2 cases of diabetes in the 1960s.
Here in the islands.
Here in the islands.
2 cases. And now what's the figure? I heard your husband mention it's huge.
It's above 25% of the adult population. Some estimates have put it up to 37%.
And I heard on some of the others, perhaps it's 50 to 70 age, it's 75%. I believe. There's massive numbers. I just was reading that the other day. It's hard to even imagine. But that most of that comes from diet. Is that correct?
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Diet and lack of exercise.
Now, the center here is attached to the hospital. Tell me about that relationship.
The hospital is kind of our supervising agency, and so we report to them. They give us money every year to help fund our programs, but fortunately we have a lot of autonomy in how we use that money, and so it makes it easy to get things done.
And I noticed you're not only making an impact with the community, but even with the hospital. I noticed that the hospital now is cooking here, and you've helped change their dietary ways they serve patients.
The hospital kitchen is being remodeled. The hospital is going through a big renovation process. So they will be using our bakery for the next 3 years. And fortunately, the kitchen manager for the hospital kitchen is also health conscious. So the plates that go to the hospital patients have become healthier over the last few years.
That's exciting because hospital food normally is not very good at all.
Very true.
What else, as you've been working here all this time now, what are the other needs that you see that the center is working to help with?
There is a big need for the education of children, school-age children who really don't know anything about healthy eating. And they have a soda pop for breakfast, and they'll have an ice cream cone on the way to school, or their only breakfast will be a pack of chips. So we are working with the Ministry of Education and developing a health curriculum using their standards, which they have some pretty good standards. They just don't have anything in place for the teachers to use to teach those standards. So we have developed a kindergarten and a first grade workbook with 21 lessons, activities on the importance of exercise, on healthy food and unhealthy food. The kindergartens this last year, it was their first year, and kindergartners stopped drinking so much soda and juice, and a lot of the teachers had a rule of no junk food in the classroom.
Really?
So instead of chips and cookies for snacks, they were bringing fruit and boiled eggs and natural stuff.
So the Wellness Center is making an impact, starting to move out through the whole community.
Yes, it's another of our programs, the chat program, where patients get visited in their homes. The idea is to teach the whole family at once. And things
You
like
mentioned the chat program a little earlier of helping to go in and help the people. Is that an acronym for something?
Yes, Community Health Advancement Program.
I imagine that you've gotten some really great stories of seeing people's lives change. Is there one or two that are just really pop that you'd like to share with us?
Sure. Anne went through our program 3 times because she wanted to just keep learning more and more and more. Her father had gone through the program years ago and encouraged her to come. And she just has so much more energy now that she's trying to eat right and exercise. She started a walking club. She does our exercise classes when we do our outreaches. So she's a great motivator for the Marshallese who think that they can't do it, but they can.
They can. So it's really true, you are what you eat.
You are. Oh, definitely. The things that you put in your body affect your mind, affect your well-being, affect even your spiritual connection.
I've got to stop you a moment. Even your spiritual connection. Could you expand on that?
Your connection to God is through your mind. If you do not have a clear mind, you can't have a good connection with God. And the healthier the food that you eat, the clearer your mind is also. It's not only the food. You have to drink your water and you have to get some exercise every day and get some sunshine and avoid alcohol and tobacco and other things that cloud your mind. But all of these things affect your spirit, and your spirit affects your body.
So this is what Canvasback Wellness Center is really doing, is helping to change the mind of the people and help them feel better. Then they can focus on spiritual things.
Yes, you need those basics in place before you can tackle the higher things.
So if you had a wish list of things you'd like to do, maybe expansion or something, what would that be? What would it look like?
Wow. Well, here at this wellness center, I would love to have a few more exercise classes, have maybe a program through the schools where we cook with each classroom and get them to try healthy food. It would take a bit more staff and money. And we'd really like to expand. There are other islands who have expressed an interest in having a wellness center. So it would be great to be able to start up another wellness center on another island, because the Pacific Islands all have the same problem with diabetes and chronic illness.
I guess in reality, Canvasback has been invited, but it takes, as you just said, money to do that.
Yes.
Staff and time.
Yes. And we want to leave the wellness center here in Madro very stable with some local management that can keep the ball rolling.
Kristen, thank you so much. Appreciate all the service you do and the outreach and everything else.
Thank you, Jim.
There is so much more on Impact to come. Stay tuned.
Canvasback Missions has been changing hearts and lives in the islands of Micronesia for nearly 4 decades. Founders Jamie and Jackie Spence once ferried medical and dental teams by catamaran and ship across the Pacific Ocean. But when small hospitals were established on many island nations, the mode of operation changed, as did the needs of the people. To this day, however, these hospitals lack medical specialists to perform the most difficult surgeries. On an ongoing basis, Canvasback flies all volunteer super teams to the islands to conduct surgeries and to train local medical staff. Teams are usually comprised of specialists in the fields of gynecology, orthopedics, ophthalmology, ENT, dental, and others as needed. They dedicate 2 weeks of life-changing mission work to relieve the pain and suffering of the people. If you would like to volunteer for 2 weeks of life-changing work, log on to canvasback.org and follow the prompts to volunteer.
Not only does Canvasback specialize in medical and dental teams to help those in great need of healing, but we also work to reverse the epidemic of diabetes among the population. It's the #1 killer in the Marshall Islands. We are utilizing every means at our disposal to combat this deadly disease. We are working to lead people back to a healthy diet, free from so many foods that are major players in diabetes and heart disease. We are training and sending out neighborhood teams to detect health problems early and then offer them solutions that work. We're making tremendous progress, but your help is needed. The program has been highly successful, but we must expand, and that takes money. The needs are great, but the solutions are simple. Early detection and teaching with love the basic principles of health that move people toward a healthy lifestyle. I do hope you will financially join us in helping to eradicate diabetes, the #1 killer in the Marshall Islands and beyond.
To be a part of this exciting ministry, you can write us at Canvasback Missions, 940 Adams Street, Suite R, Benicia, California, 94510. You can also log on to canvasback.org or call us at 707-746-7828. Thank you for watching. Please join me again for another exciting island adventure, because remember, Canvasback is making an impact on hearts and lives, one miracle at a time.